out. Okay. Because now this is the most overused term. A person who practices yoga. Right now, in the state of our world, you do a downward dog on Instagram, you're a yogi. But is that really what this term means, union? Yogi is someone that's achieved union. You have union. This is not it. A yogi, by definition, is someone who has achieved the state of yoga. The state of yoga, when you remember that you are not this body nor this mind, that you are beyond. When you remember, you come to a cellular remembrance of that. In yoga language, we call samadhi. Have you heard of the word samadhi? Have you heard of the word samadhi? Raise your hand. Okay. So explain to me what does samadhi mean? Does someone have a idea? The state of being one with more than you. And depending on how deep the samadhi state is, because there are different layers, the more expanded that samadhi state is, the more of you feel at one with. This is actually the state of yoga, which is the goal of yoga, actions that arrive at samadhi. For those of you that don't know what samadhi is, have you watched the cartoon Kung Fu Panda? You know when Po is playing with a water droplet and he's going, inner peace. Do you remember that? That's samadhi. Okay? That's samadhi. No, no, state of mind, the state of being. In that moment when he was playing with the water droplet and he became one with everything, that is samadhi. That he did an action that triggered state of remembrance. Okay? Which is the long-term goal of why they invented yoga practices in the first place. But on the way to this, it's this long adventure of overcoming yourself. Which part of the self are we overcoming? We're overcoming our ego. We're overcoming the false sense of separation between you and everything. This body comes with something called an ego. And it's been put there so you don't walk off a cliff, you don't get hit by a truck, and you just try to stay healthy so that you don't get sick. That's a good thing. So the ego's not bad, but when it does more than it should, and then you start thinking, no, but I'm better than you are. Or you start to think, no, I'm just this. That's both the ego. Okay? Or you start to think, um, that you are, that's an illusion of the ego also because you're everything. So how can you be alone? Or that you're jealous, which is an also illusion because you are that guy and you are that girl too. So how can that happen? How can you be jealous of anything? So the point is that when we arrive at this state, we realize that all the drama moments we've been crying about and angry about, they don't really exist. That once you start to see life from the bigger picture, you see how everything and everyone is connected. And this is the state of that we are trying to arrive at through our varied practices. We will see later when we talk about the history of yoga that history of yoga shows us that yoga evolves and changes depending on the needs of the society who are applying those practices. And once the society can no longer grasp those practices. Those practices must change to allow the state of remembrance to continue. Yoga needs to be practical. Yoga needs to be able to be applied, shared, and practiced. And when the society can no longer make use of those practices, something else comes up to take their place. When you talk about unity, there's one thing for thousands of years. For thousands of years, I think the oldest remnant of yoga, the oldest thing in our yoga practice today, the oldest thing in our practice today is this. Anyone know what this is? Om. So Om is the oldest in the very, very, very old tradition of the Vedas. Yoga was about sound. Because 4,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, even 13,000 years ago, the people that practiced yoga were very, very sensitive to frequency. By merely chanting a mantra, they were able to remember everything. And so Om, the sound of, remember I said, who remembers what I said this morning about Om? Of the universe, is it? Is it the sound of the universe? To be honest, scientists have found the sound of the Big Bang. It's in microwave frequency. Microwave frequency. They found it. It doesn't sound like this. Why do we? With our vocal cords, this is the sound that triggers the brain, the remembrance of everything. With our vocal cords, this is the sound that triggers in our brain the remembrance of everything through the spine. And this is why humans chant Om. Sound of creation. It's the sound that's Om. Okay, so what is Om? It's the reminder that every atom in your body was there in the start of it all. If you tap into atomic level, if you tap into your cellular and atomic level, there's no in the electromagnetic realm of electrons and all that stuff. We are 100% space. The only reason why we feel like we're not than the floor. And if we could vibrate at the same frequency as the floor, our foot will go through the floor. We're 99% space. It's only the ego that feels that we're not. So let's remember